What's going on, guys? Simon with HSC UAV here again. Today we're going to go over the whole process of assembling our new M6A-Pro G200 drone. This is an agricultural spraying drone, and you're going to see the whole process start to finish and how to put it together. Let's get started. We're going to take this aircraft from looking like this to this. Alright, I went ahead and taken everything out of the box. Here you can see the four main sections of the box. We have our frame, we have our landing gear and nozzles, we have our motor arms with props, our tank, controller, and hardware bag. We're going to begin by installing the landing gear. For this, you'll need to use your toolkit. It comes with 4 different size Allen keys. We're going to use the second to largest one. This is a 2.5mm hex Allen key. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll take the frame out of the case here, and we're actually going to flip it upside down carefully. We need to access these mounts right here for the landing gear. So we'll go over to our landing gear right here. We'll get our landing gear legs out, get both of them out. And here we go. A couple things about the landing gear. You'll notice in the center it has this arm. This arm can actually pivot down. This is actually what holds your tank in place. We want to make sure that both of the sides that have the pin that allows it to pivot are on the same side on the frame. We're going to face it towards the front of the frame. How do we know which side the front is on the frame? Well, the easiest way is to take a look. There's 2 ways you can tell. Number 1, the battery wires on the front of the aircraft. So that's an easy way to tell when it's upside down, but you can also see the camera lens is on the front as well. So when we install this landing gear, we will install it with the pin facing the front here. What we're going to do is insert the landing gear all the way down, just like you heard there, and we will tighten. We're going to tighten up these screws here, 1, 2, and on the other side right there. We're going to get them snug. This is going to clamp together and make it so the landing gear is nice and secure. Alright, let's get this set up. We'll go ahead and tighten these down using our driver. Again, you don't have to tighten these too tight, you just want to get them snug. You want to make sure to get the other side as well. Okay, perfect. We'll get the other landing gear, and remember, we want to make sure we line up this arm here, this arm with the same direction as the other landing gear leg towards the front of the drone. We'll go ahead and tighten these screws up. Tighten up the other side. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and flip the drone on its legs and set it up and set the foam piece aside. Okay, next up we're going to go ahead and install the tank. Inside the hardware bag you'll find these 2 pins right here. This is actually what holds the tank in place. And you'll notice that at the end here it has a little button which you can press. When you push this button, these pins on the end actually retract. You can see it there. And I'll show you how these are installed in just a moment. The first step to installing the tank is we want to make sure that our holders are folded down, just like so. We'll grab our tank, and you can see the aircraft right now. Pull you up just a little bit here. You can see it's actually facing away from me. The camera is facing on the other side. We want to make sure that our tank filler neck is facing towards us. We'll bring it up inside the aircraft here, Make sure none of the wires or tubes are in the way. And we'll lift it up. There we go. Carefully. We'll lift it all the way up, and then we'll lift up our arms. We'll take our pin here, we'll push the button and insert it inside the arm. We'll make sure to do that for both sides, and the landing gear is now installed. Okay, moving on to installing the arms. A couple things you'll need. Out of your hardware bag, you'll find your wrench. You'll find your motor arm pin and nut. The motor arm itself, which you'll notice is labeled. And there's two connectors on the arm. There's a small 2-pin connector and a larger 3-pin connector. These are used to power the navigation light and the motor. Let's go ahead and get this installed. So very important, we need to make sure that we follow the correct order number for the motors as specified by the manufacturer. You can find this in the manual for your particular drone. In this case, motor 1 is in the 1 o'clock position. I prefer to connect my motor and light connectors first before I insert the pin. I find that is a little bit easier to install that way. So let me show you how this is done. Remember, both of these connectors can only fit in one direction. They are keyed, so if it's not fitting easily, try flipping it around. Okay, so both connectors are fully inserted now. We can go ahead and insert the arm itself. And it is quite a tight fit. You might have to give it a little bit of a push. Now we'll insert our motor pin. Now you can see that the end here is a hexagonal shape, and it matches with the left side of the motor arm assembly here. So you can see if you insert it from this side, it will actually lock the pin in place. So make sure that you install it the right way. We'll push it all the way through. There we go. Now you can see it sticks out on the other side. We'll bring our nut in place, install that. And we'll use our wrench. This is an 8mm wrench. You can see here. We'll go ahead and tighten it down. Again, you don't want to go too crazy with this. These are lock nuts, so they will not come loose, and you actually don't want them too tight because otherwise it'll make the arm difficult to raise and lower. You just want it snug. For the final step of assembly, we're going to install the nozzles. There's a couple things you'll need here. You'll need your driver again with the smallest tip. This is a 1.5mm tip. You'll need the hardware bag with the screws used to install them. You'll need the nozzle, the tube, and the mount. Let's go ahead and install these mounts. These are the rubber mounts that actually hold the nozzles to the rotor arm. You can see it's got a little carbon fiber reinforcement and 4 small screws. These are going to install right up here. In this case, we're installing 4 nozzles, and they're going to be on the rear 4 rotors. You can install up to 6 nozzles, 1 under each rotor arm in this model. Quick tip about these mounts. They are a lot easier to install if you install them before you mount the arms to the frame. That way you don't have to drive the screws up and risk dropping them. You just have to know to install them, in this case, on rotor arm 3, 4, 5, and 6. time to install the nozzle body itself. You can see that this is actually two pieces. And this piece has a hole in the top to route the tubing through. Let me show you how that's installed. First, we'll take our tubing and route it through the holder on the arm. There we go. Then we'll take our nozzle holder, and route the tubing through it there. Then this simply pushes up into the rubber holder. And finally, there is a quick connect on the nozzle body itself. You simply push this onto the tubing. Okay. And then this slots up in there. Let me show you how that's done. And the last thing you'll need to do is tighten down this screw right here. This is another 2.5 millimeter screw. So we'll bring that here and just snug it down. And now this is secure. Okay, it's really starting to look like a drone now. Just a couple things left. We need to make sure we connect all our connections here. These connections connect right in the frame right there. They are all labeled. So I'm going to connect the connector to their respective ports. And we're almost ready to fly. Okay, here's our final connection. There we go. So this is the M6A-Pro G200. This is a 16-liter agricultural spraying drone, and that is the full assembly process from start to finish. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope this is very helpful for you guys. If you have any other questions, don't forget to visit us at hscuav.com, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. All right, we'll see you next time.